Bezos, Tracy McElfresh here with Sewing Tips in Under a Minute. Due to the virus, they're no longer under a minute because I have a little bit more time right now. So I am going to talk about how to make masks really fast. So quilters know how to mass produce things because they cut out the little pieces over and over again. But a lot of us garment sewers only do 2 of each thing. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the things I've been doing to make many masks really quickly. Now at first you may want to start with 10 and see how that goes and see how that feels because you don't want to overdo it. But I think that this will help you. So the first thing I like to do, instead of using the paper piece patterns to cut out, I cut out fusible interfacing, and it's kind of scratchy on one side. And I lay out all my pieces and then cut out a bunch of the pieces of the flannel all at once so that the outsides are on the inside, so that when I go to sew, I don't have to fool with flipping pieces around. So that saves time. So I cut all of those out at first, and then I get my flannel pieces all lined up, and then I take those actual flannel pieces and I do something called stacking. I stack the fabric so that it's at least 4 thick, and with a really sharp pair of scissors, I cut with the flannel now as my pattern, because we all know when we cut something out once, the second time it's always just a little tiny bit larger. So that way the outside is a little bit tiny bit larger than the inside, and I go ahead and cut those out. Once I've cut all those out, I go ahead and cut out all of my elastic pieces. And the thing here is not to waste a lot of time counting your pieces over and over again. Count them once. No matter how many times I count them, I always have more or less and still have to do something. So count all your pieces once. Don't even worry about it after that. And then I like to stack all of my pieces up so that when I go to sew, I can just pull each piece. Now, as far as my machine goes, I've got my machine set up, but before I started, I put a new needle in and I filled up 2 bobbins so that I don't have to walk back and forth to my sewing room. I have over to my right side needles, snippers, seam ripper, anything that I might need so that I don't have to go fishing for anything during this time period. And then my last tip for you is to go ahead and sew your pieces in a method called chaining off. And this is something that quilters do. They sew each piece and they don't even stop, and they just keep on sewing. So I've got my piece here. I've got my next piece ready to go. Usually these all would be right here, so I don't have to get up and reach for anything. And I need my glasses, I can't see. So I just do my seam allowance right to one, and then I go off right to the next one. Now this seam at the end and the beginning is going to have a whole nother piece sewn to it, so there's no worrying about back stitching or anything, and I just breeze through all of my pieces at once. Now all of these curves for the style of mask that I'm making have to be clipped, so that would be another thing that would take a lot of time, and you can stack those 2 by 2 as well and clip them as long as you used the correct seam allowance. You can lay them together and clip the 2 pair that are going to go together at the same time. That way everybody stays together and you don't have to match pieces at all. So that's it, Tracy McElfresh. I hope these tips were helpful. I hope that everybody that can sew is helping making masks. I know there's a huge demand for them right now. We've been making quite a few. So if you message me with any questions, just know that I am sewing and my husband may be writing you back. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.